Hello and welcome to End of Search. I'm your host, Scott Sanders, your one-stop shop for all your quick reviews and your how-tos. Today, a fill toilet valve, which is this. So you cut your water on because it's been leaking. As you can see, water just pours out the top. It's supposed to pour down this pipe. But if I take this little cap off, if it wants to come off, when it fills up, you'll see it just sprays out the backside. So if this part's leaking, you just hear it running all night because they'll just keep pouring water into there. If it gets past that fill line, water gets into there, it just pours into your bowl. See it just spraying out the backside onto my hand. So let's put the cap back on, stop it from doing that and pouring in there. That's a fill valve. You just go to Home Depot or Lowe's. They sell these for about $7 to $8. If you're going to take off the supply line, you might as well get a new one. They're $7. See, from your shut off, you just take the supply line off, screw it on here, screw it on there. It has a rubber gasket, so normally that can make it a lot tighter, but people over tighten them, so you don't want to tighten it too much. Now you can see in the bottom that there's a rubber gasket at the bottom, so that stops water from falling out of the tank. So underneath here, right here, there's a little cap. That little cap is the only thing that holds this whole thing on. So you unscrew that, and this will come straight out. Now obviously, we want to shut off the water to stop it from leaking. Flush the toilet so that when we pull it out, there's not a lot of water in there because you don't want it leaking onto the floor. But that's still quite a bit. So you want to get like a little bucket, and I also put a towel underneath it. But yeah, scoop all the water out and then proceed. So this is the part you unscrew at the top of your shut off. That'll let the water get through. And then again, you want to disconnect it right here, and then we'll continue to removing this little ring right here at the top. Okay, once you loosen this part, which I already did, water starts pouring out of it. And that's when you let it fill up in your cup or your bowl to get the rest out of the tank. And then you can spin it off. All right, now it's disconnected. And you want to take this little part off, and that way you can connect it to the new one. It's just a rubber hose and should be universal fit. So for better representation, that goes down the hole. That's the rubber gasket that you saw at the bottom of that. And then this screwed on the end of it. And that part holds this threaded part down here that you saw. So that compresses it, and that makes it tighten so that water can't get through. Alright, so this is what the new one comes on. New little rubber pipe. Got the connector at the bottom. Also the clip that sits in that. Most of them you should be able to use on the new one. This is your rig. So you want to adjust it to the same height as the old one so that it sits upright. You could do that by twisting this bottom part. That'll make it go higher and lower. Then once you get it in, you can twist this to adjust the water level so that the floater shuts it off when it gets to this. So with this one, this little cap slides right over this and pops on, but you pull that up, and then you can pull this out until it's about the same length as the other one. And then drop it into the back of your toilet. Yeah, pop this back on. It locks it back into place. They need to be the right heights for the float to work properly. Alright, so you put it in, then you tighten right down here the old ring cap that came off. Tighten it back up. And then you want to hit your supply line. You should be able to test it out. Now water, when it finds leaks or holes or gaps or anything or cracks, it goes through it immediately. So you'll know immediately. You want it to be like, oh, let's check it again in the morning. No, you'll know immediately if it has some loose ends. Alright, now if you're ever going to switch anything out on your toilet, even if you're replacing the toilet, I always say do the supply line, because that's where the main leak happens. You can tell with the rubber ring inside. That's what kind of wears off over the years. But this is what you're looking for at Home Depot, where it connects, the connection, which is right here. Normally, this is going to be a 3/8. Now sometimes this will leak, so if you go to turn this off and it leaks from the face of it, this little nut behind it It's called the packing nut. That's normally the problem. So if you just tighten that, remember righty tighty, lefty loosey, you tighten that and it'll kind of get rid of your problem of it leaking from here. A lot of people pay a plumber and they just come out very tight and then bam, 150 bucks. But yeah, this thing goes on there. It's obvious when you have one of these because you have a big old one that you can grab, and normally just tightening it by your hand pretty tight is good enough. So let's put it on. All right, to test it out, put it on for a little bit just to get some water back in it. Enough in there where you could test it out. All right, didn't see any leaks on the little tiny test, so we're gonna fill it up. Make sure that it shuts off at the water line, so the water will lift the floater up. It shouldn't go over past that little water line marker. And we'll check it out. If not, you can adjust it with this. But again, you want to just that's only tighten as hard. I could turn it, not as hard as I can. I mean, you don't want to Thor this thing. You don't need Thor's hammer to seal this body. But just keep feeling for water. See if it's wet anywhere. It's not. It stopped right below the water line. Should be enough to flush it. That's pretty much dead on it. All right. So now it's flushing. Fill back up. Double check everything, because remember, water will let you know immediately. Yep, dry, dry. Dry everywhere else. All right, that's how you do it for about 15 bucks. Saved you about 135 because plumbers will charge you 150 bucks to do it. So just test it out every now and then. Come back in about 30 minutes to see if there's any more water down there. Clean up and you're welcome. So thanks for stopping by Into Search for your fast and speediest reviews. Hopefully it was fast enough where there wasn't any commercials. You have a great weekend. And remember, don't laugh at all your wife's or your husband's choices, because you were one of them.